WICR.
Welcome back for our third and final segment of the day of The Rock is On. I'm your host, The Rock. We're going to talk a little basketball today. We're not going to get into predictions or NBA final previews or stuff like that. We'll do that next week, though, but we'll talk a little about the locals because basketball season did start on Tuesday, and we'll get into the Knicks. They lost to the Cavs, who received the defending champion, Cleveland Cavaliers, 117-88. Not a pretty performance, but a lot was going on, not just for the Cavaliers, but the city of Cleveland, because the Cavs it was a ring ceremony. They were getting their rings. They were the defending NBA champions. They overcame a 3-1 series deficit over the greatest regular season team in the history of the NBA. So, they had that going for them. And then also, of course, with the Indians being in the World Series right across the street. And throughout the game, there are two free agent acquisitions. Courtney Lee and Joakim Noah didn't score. But now I understand, when you bring some guys in, you want them to make an immediate impact. I understand that, but it's a long season, folks. It's only one game. Plus, if this Knicks team, on paper, but you know what? They're a good team. They have a young star in Kristaps Porzingis. They have Melo, who can be a dominant scorer. He's proven that. He's been that. And you have tenacity with Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose. And those guys have chemistry going back to their days with the Chicago Bulls. And Courtney Lee, he's been in the playoffs here and there with some teams. He's jumped around a lot, but he's been to the playoffs. But if it's only one game, basketball, it's one of those tricky basketball is usually a team chemistry game. When things are flowing and everyone knows where they're supposed to be and they know they know the play and they execute it, it's a beautiful thing to watch. If they don't know it, if they don't have good team chemistry, then they're going to go through some growing pains. It's just how it is in the NBA. Or in basketball in general. Teams have to gel. It takes some while. Could take about maybe 20 games, give or take, for a team to develop team chemistry. But it's just, like I said, it's a long season. The Knicks are they're a good team. They can be a playoff team. They can range from anywhere from, I'd say, 6 to 8 at best, or 6 seed at best. And, Knicks fans, you can't lose hope. You can't lose your minds after one game. Come on. It's like in a baseball season, you go crazy after 5-10 games. Got 152 to go. Well, Knicks fans, you got 81 games to go. Plus, you figure, it's the top 4 teams in the East are going to be the Cavs, Raptors, Pacers, and Celtics. And, in the East, granted, it did get better, though, but the Knicks, they have a chance. They just have a chance to be a playoff team. They just do. They do. Now, unlike, and I have to say, they have a much better chance, unlike the other New York team, the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I know the Brooklyn Nets, not a lot of people, if not everybody, has no expectations for this team whatsoever. They're in the beginning. They're in year one of rebuilding stage. They lost their opening game to the Boston Celtics in Boston, 122-117 in a high-scoring affair. Jeremy Lin had 18 points. Linsanity for you Knicks fans. And Bojan Bogdanovic. Ooh, I remember him. I remember he used to play for the Nets. I think he played for the Suns before. This is his second stint for the Knicks. This is his second stint with the Nets. He used to play for the Suns and then the Nets before that. He led the way with 21 points. And, if you're a fan of the Brooklyn Nets, which I don't think they're that many, to be honest with you, this is a rebuilding stage. You're going to go through some growing pains this year and probably in the next 2-3 years. Next year and then the year after that. So these next 2 years are going to be a bit frustrating, but, you got to do what you got to do. You got to build through the draft. Got to acquire, somewhat decent talent. Not like a high-priced superstar free agent like a Kevin Durant or LeBron James when he was a free agent, but acquire guys that are somewhat decent and that can make an immediate impact on your team. And if I'm the Nets, if I'm Sean Mays, the new or Sean Marks, excuse me, the new general manager of the Nets, I would have to accumulate. I would accumulate draft picks because I don't think they have a draft pick till like 2018 or 2019, due in part to that absurd trade they had with the Boston Celtics. When they traded Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and Paul Pierce to the Nets, and then the Nets gave them a plethora of draft picks. And that was a train robbery. Honestly, that deal was a steal for the Boston Celtics. Danny Ainge was like, haha, suckers. That's what you figure. That's what he was thinking. He's like, wow, you really want to trade your future for two guys who are way past their prime and up there in age. Okay, sure, why not? If you're in full swing with it, I'll be in it. And at that time, the Nets were coming off a division. They were coming off a division title. They unfortunately they lost to the Chicago Bulls. And no, they weren't. The Knicks won the division. Excuse me. The Nets were coming off, a tough 7-game series, losing that heartbreaking Game 7 at home to the Chicago Bulls. Then, and at the time, Billy King was like, we gotta make a deal. We gotta do something here. Put in that trade, but you know what? With Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Jason Terry. But you know what? That trade just easily backfired. The Nets only made it to the semifinals, didn't even get to the conference finals, let alone the NBA finals, and the whole thing just blew up. But you just gotta, if you're the Nets, if you're Sean Marks, like I said, you gotta accumulate draft picks, gotta get some decent free agents, and just build a team. Build. Look what the Celtics are doing. They were bad. They were in contention. They were bad for about 2 years, and now they're gradually getting better. They were the 7th seed, I think, in Brad Stevens' second year. They were the 7th seed. They had a sub-500 record, but they made the playoffs as a 7th seed. Last year, they were a 5th seed, took the Hawks to 6 games, played more tough because they got swept in 2015 to the Cavs. But now this year, they're bound to win at least 50 games, the Celtics. And they were smart. They accumulated draft picks. They didn't sign, overpriced free agents. They signed quality guys to decent deals, and they have a lot of cap room. So if they want to bring in a marquee free agent, they can do it. And that's what the Nets need to do right now. They have a rookie coach in Kenny Atkinson. He was on the Hawks staff. The Hawks have been competitive the last few years. Maybe he can bring that winning culture and that winning attitude to the Nets. And hopefully, within the next 5-6 years, the Nets could be a title contending team. But that has yet to be determined. And with that concludes our show for The Rock is On. Tune in next week at 4 p.m. on Thursday to hear your latest sporting news. Have a great day, everyone.